I've been going through the comments across the last few of my videos, and I keep seeing the same question come up time and time again. Some of them are very practical, some of them are very personal, and some of them are ones that I've been wanting to answer probably for quite a long time. So today, that's exactly what I'm going to do. No structure, just me sitting down, answering the questions you've actually been asking for a while. If your questions are in here, this one is for you. And if not, just comment below, and it might just be the next video that I make. So let's get into it. So question one is, how slow is too slow? Is there a minimum pace for MAF training? This one comes up constantly, and I love it because it shows that people are actually paying attention to their heart rate. And the honest answer is there's no too slow. MAF training has a ceiling. It's like 180 minus your age. That's the number, and you don't go above it. Now, there are a few rules and regulations you have to follow when it comes to this. And 180 minus your age is one part of the equation. But there are some other aspects to it where if you've been running continuously for a few years and you've been seeing improvement, you can add an additional 5 beats on. However, if you're over fat, well, you got to reduce that by 5 beats. If you're on medication, then you have to increase that by 10 beats because medications can alter what your heart rate is doing. And that's an important one to pay attention to, but one that a lot of people don't want to talk about. However, if you are coming back from an injury or a surgery, or you've been out of the game for a while, you basically should reduce it by 5 beats. Now, there's a lot of you who are just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do 180 minus my age, and I'm going to use that. Or you've been running, you may not have been tracking to see if you've been improving because you haven't been doing a monthly test to see that. So some people, myself included, I just added 5 beats on, and that's what I've been using for all these years. And it works quite well for me. So it's very flexible in a lot of ways. But you got to be honest with yourself, pay attention, track to see if you're improving. Okay, so here's the other thing. Now, there is no floor to that number. You have to keep, if you have to walk to keep your heart rate under that number, well, you're going to have to walk. If you have to shuffle, then you're going to have to shuffle. In my first MAF run, I was 8 minutes, 34 seconds per kilometer. Okay, that felt humiliating slow. And honesty is the only thing that matters when you're dealing with heart rate training. Look, your pace will come, but only if you respect the ceiling of what your MAF is in the first place. This one's biggie. How long before I see results from slow running? And that's the most common question I get. And the one with the most honest, but least satisfying answer that I'm going to say. 3 months bare minimum before you see meaningful MAF test improvements. 6 months before it really starts to compound. And a full year before you fully understand what your aerobic base is actually capable of. I know that's not what most people want to hear. We live in a world of 6-week transformations and a 30-day challenges. But here's what I'd say. Within the first month before your pace improves at all, you'll notice recovery between runs is improved. It's better. You'll finish your runs feeling like you could do more. And that's the first sign. And hold on to that, okay? The pace improvement follows, but the recovery improvement comes first. And that's definitely worth paying attention to. Question 3 is, do I have to do every run at my MAF heart rate, or can I still do some faster running? Okay, that's a great question. And that was a question that I had for a very long time, specifically at the beginning. The Maffetone method in this phase of base building recommends keeping your running at below your MAF heart rate. Okay, and the reason is very simple. If you're also doing faster running, you're accumulating fatigue that shows in your aerobic adaptation. Okay, in the first year of MAF training, I kept almost everything under my ceiling, and that's when I went from 834 to 534 per kilometer. Once your base is built, and the general guideline, I would say, is probably around 6 months to a year of constant MAF work, you can start adding some faster running on top of that. And the one that I used was the 80-20 model, and it works quite well. 80% of your running will be done at your MAF or below. 20% you're going to be doing at a higher intensity. But build the base first. The speed on top of a weak base really doesn't stick. However, speed on top of a strong base compounds. Hey, I'm David. I'm the Plant Powered Runner. I've been using the Maffetone method, aka slow running, for like good 6 years now. And I've been able to run 3 minutes faster per kilometer over the time. I've lost tons of weight, like 25 to, what is it, like 40 pounds by now. I've also run an ultra marathon, which, you know, and think about it, 50 miles is a long distance to run. I've run half marathons, and I know this method. I know slow running. I know what it can do. And I know a lot of you have questions about using this method. Question number 4 is, what heart rate monitor do I recommend? And I get asked this one a lot as well. A chest strap is more accurate than a wrist-based one. However, they're getting really close. Now, especially at the lower end and at the faster end, they kind of struggle. Sometimes they slide up and down on your wrist. Sometimes there's something that, I don't know, it doesn't fit well or tight enough, or it's too loose, or whatever it is. There's things that happen with it. So the optical monitors on the wristwatch can wander at lower heart rates and give you readings that are off by enough to kind of matter if you're paying attention to your heart rate. I use a chest strap paired with a GPS watch, and there are good options at every price point. Garmin, Polar, Wahoo, they all make a solid chest strap. And if you're just starting out and you only have a wrist-based monitor, like, just use it. It'll get you close enough to begin. But if you're serious about MAF training and you want clean, accurate data, invest in a chest strap or one of those optical ones that go on your bicep. They work really well. And look, that's one of the best things I did for my training. And it works well. Now, however, before I get off this topic, the Coros Pace 4, which I have, I'm going to make a video on that, but I'm going to say that is more accurate than I had with my Vertex or my original Coros. It's fantastic. It's really quick. And this is just all wrist-based. So I still use my Polar H10. I know it's older, but it's very reliable and it's just a workhorse. So my MAF pace hasn't improved in 2 months. Something must be wrong. What am I doing wrong? Well, look, here's the first thing I would ask. Are you being honest about understanding what your heart rate ceiling is? Okay. And this is the most, it's another one of those most common reasons why MAF training stalls. People think they're running at their MAF number, but they're actually drifting above it on regular runs, like on hills, in the heat, at the start of runs. And those spikes above the ceiling slow your aerobic adaptation. Maybe not a lot, but they do add to it. The second thing is, what is your sleep like? Nobody likes to talk about sleep. Whenever I talk about sleep on this channel, everyone kind of tunes out. But I'm going to tell you, it is a big factor why people don't improve. Next one is other things that people don't want to talk about is your stress levels, your nutrition. All of these things affect your heart rate and recovery. But most people don't want to talk about those things. They don't want to hear about it. You know, if life is hard right now, your MAF progress will reflect that. Again, nobody likes to listen to that kind of thing. Third, 2 months is actually not long enough. Some people see faster progress while some see slower progress. And if you're being generally honest with your training and your lifestyle, look, you just got to keep going, right? Keep tracking, keep doing your MAF tests. The adaptation will happen even when the numbers aren't quite moving yet. I'm going to throw in a little bit of a bonus one right now. How much are you running? Because you may not be running enough to see results. If you're running 1 day a week, 2 days a week, maybe even 3 days a week, it may not be enough to move the needle with your MAF training. I'm just saying, right? Slow running is fine, but if you're trying to see results, you may not be getting them because you're not running enough. It's just one of those things that I've experienced and I'm going through right now. Question number 6. Can I do MAF training if I am a complete beginner who has never run before? There's 2 answers to this. Yes, absolutely and honestly, you might be positioned better than someone who has been running, hard for a number of years. Now, here's why. A complete beginner hasn't built the bad habits yet. MAF training is going to test your patience, okay? And you're not coming in with a default pace that is too fast. And you're not fighting your ego about how slow you should be going or how fast you should be going. You can just start and build honestly because you have nothing to compare it to. The MAF formula works at every fitness level, 180 minus your age, okay? Again, with some of those variation changes that you'll have to address. But that's your number. Now go out and walk or run or whatever keeps you under it. And do that consistently. Test every single month. Watch the pace come down. The only thing that I would say to a complete beginner is this. Be extra patient with yourself in the first few months. You're going to need it, okay? It's really going to test you. And it will feel like nothing is happening. But look, your fitness, it's just under the surface of everything. It will improve. It will get better. It's just going to take time. Now, here's the second part to that question is it may not be the best thing for you because it may discourage you because you want to run, but you can't keep your heart rate in that zone for any stretch of the time, and you have to walk. Now, for some people, that may be okay, but if you're a certain type of person and you really want to make things happen, look, you may have to run for a bit, and it may be maybe faster than you would like, but maybe you're that type of person who can just kind of tune out all the noise and just go out for a run. Slow it down, maybe just do it by effort. Have a talk test where you could sing the national anthem or just talk like I'm talking right now and not feeling like I can't do this. Like you're not like that, okay? Maybe that'll work for you. I don't know, because I'm not you. You have to figure that out on your own. But if you really want to do this whole MAF training, then yeah, you may have to walk at the very beginning because you just can't keep it in that zone while you're running. And that can be very discouraging. Number 7, what do you do when you fall off the wagon? How do you get back to it? This one's personal for me because I've fallen off the wagon more times than I can count, but I still keep coming back. 2021 was my knee injury. Most of the year I was not running. 2023, again, started to fall off. 2020, I came back. 2025 got hard. Bunch of stuff happening, and running was the first thing to go. So here's what I've learned about coming back multiple times. Number 1 is don't compare yourself to where you were before. And that comparison can be the enemy. It's fine for me to make videos on it, but I don't stay there. Now, you're not picking up where you left off. You're starting from where you actually are right now. And that's okay. That is okay. You got to do the MAF test on your first run back. Get your honest baseline of where you currently are. Then just show up day after day and do the runs, do the work. The base comes back faster than you built it, okay, the first time. And your body will remember. Muscle memory, it's a real thing. But you have to give it time it needs without judging it against your previous best runs. Because that is going to be heartbreaking and it will hurt. And as we get older, things change. And you have to be okay with that. Look, the fact that we're moving is the most beautiful thing anyways. There are a lot of people out there that can't. And that is crushing. So be happy that you can walk. Be happy that you're here. Be happy that you can get out the door and do the thing that you love to do. Just be grateful. Question number 8, is slow running good for weight loss? The answer is yes. And look, here's why it works in a way that hard running often does. Hard running does help with weight loss as well, but when you run at your MAF heart rate, you are primarily burning fat as fuel, which is the whole point of training in your aerobic zone. Your body is using its own fat stores as the energy source, okay? And when you run too hard above your aerobic threshold, you shift into burning more carbs, okay? Actually, majority of carbohydrates, which is fine for performance, but less effective for fat loss over time. Look, I've lost 25 pounds doing MAF training in the first, probably 6 months, 7 months. without dramatic diet changes. And the combination of low intensity fat burning exercises and better recovery and lower cortisol from not consistently putting myself into the higher intensity made a real difference. Just making sure there's no cars coming. And look, it's also sustainable, right? You can do it every month. You can do it every day without burning out. And it's a pretty cool thing when you can do that. And consistently over time is what actually changes the body composition. So those are some of the questions I see most often, but I know that there are plenty more. So look, this is what I would do. Drop your questions in the comments right now, because whatever you've been wondering about, slow running, training, zone 2, coming back from injuries, hills, heat, anything, just ask the question. I'm going to read every single one. And the best questions, may become my next video. So like I always say, this channel only works because of the conversations in the comments. So seriously, keep them coming. It means a lot to me. And like I always say, get out and run. I'll see you on the next one.